Good time though.
Thank you so much, Tammy. I'd like to call to order our meeting of Personnel Administration and Higher Education. For today, our first order of business is a motion to approve the minutes of our prior committee meetings, which Amanda tells me were from September 1st, 10th, and the 24th. Could I have a motion to that effect, please, this morning? Supervisor McGowan, you are on my committee. Sorry, Supervisor McGowan, Supervisor Driscoll on the second. Thank you. Are there any corrections or anything to be added to those minutes? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thank you. Moving right along, I know we have Dr. Duffy here with us this morning, so I'm going to hand it right over to you, Dr. Duffy, please.
Great, thank you. It's good to see some people in my little boxes here. So good morning. Hope you're all well. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to just share some updates about the college. And I'm really pleased to share with you that, as you know, the governor back in May put in place a mandate for all students at SUNY and CUNY campuses to be vaccinated when at least one vaccine was fully approved by the FDA. As you know, the Pfizer vaccine was approved on August 23rd, and so that enacted the policy. So we furiously have been working on getting students in compliance. And it's been, as you can imagine, quite an amount of work for our staff, but I'm happy to report as of today, 98% of our students who will be studying on campus are all fully vaccinated or are in progress, which means that the remaining 2% were approved for legitimate medical or religious exemptions. So really, really proud of our students, our campus community for achieving such a high percentage of vaccination. And as you know, many of our students are navigating our communities. So to know that, we're adding to the health and safety of our community just makes me really proud. So I wanted to share that with you and also congratulate and thank once again, Janelle Jones and Pat Belden and Nancy Parsons for all they're doing to help us. They came on campus twice in the final days leading up to the deadline to provide vaccine clinics and have been just really generous with their time and talent. And we appreciate that. So again, 98% of our students, we're approaching 90% of our employees. We're still gathering data from some of our part-time employees. So, rest assured that your community college has a very high vaccination rate and that we're doing our part to protect the health and safety of our community. So I really wanted to share that with you as my primary update, but also want to thank Liza and her team for bringing the cycle program on campus. We installed those a couple weeks ago. We already have students taking advantage of it to be able to navigate around town and enjoy this beautiful area, of course, too. So thank you. We weren't expecting it this year, so we were really pleasantly surprised in being able to, especially our residence hall students, which, by the way, we have 230 students living in residence, which is double what we had last year. And we're making our way back to a little more normalcy. And of course, as you know, we have the majority of our students are on campus. So those are the things that are happening that are front and center in our minds. And I wanted to share with all of you as leaders of the community to know what's happening at the college and particularly related to keeping everyone healthy and safe. So with that, I'll let you get back to your business unless you have any questions for me or any information that I might be able to share.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duffy. Thanks for being with us and giving those updates. That's great about the student vaccination rate. Yep. Any questions for Dr. Duffy? All right. I don't see any here in the boardroom. There are a few people who are not on, they don't have a screen on, but looks like we are all set. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Next up on the agenda, Ms. Figueroa, would you give us our report from Human Resources, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I have a few items on my agenda this morning. The first two are my monthly reports. The first on the tracking of vacancies filled, and the second are the statistics regarding employee separations. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has questions about either of those. Otherwise, I will just move right on to my 2022 budget request. I have not heard the level of detail that other departments have gone into at the committee meeting to review their budgets. My budget is a small one because I have a small department. Any changes and requests, I simply asked to have some funds that were reduced last year due to the fiscal austerity plan reinstated into my budget. And there was a small increase under my contractual costs due to some of the benefit plans, specifically through EAP, that have an increasing cost per employee per month as we move through our contract with them. So everything else is fairly static in my budget from previous years. Again, happy to answer any questions.
Why don't you just give us the highlights there, Jackie, please, of your budget?
I don't even, I'm not sure what the highlights even are. We are all out of unit salaries, so those items are to be determined by the budget team a little later in the process. Again, there's not, our biggest line item is under our contractual fees, and those are for our EAP benefit that is for employees, the administrative fees for our flexible spending plans, and also the fees for our NovaTime system, which is our online timekeeping system. So altogether, that's $47,600 that we're asking for the year. That is by far the biggest chunk. Everything else is, again, quite small, most under $1,000. So there's not a lot of highlights in the HR budget, I don't think.
Are there any questions from the committee? Anyone else? Okay, Jackie, I don't see any here.
Okay. Thank you. The next item I have is it's a discussion item. You'll see a request later on the agenda in under Mike Colvin for IT to move some money from the reserve fund. We are currently have run through all of our spare NovaTime clocks that employees use to punch in and out. The sheriff's office is operating with one fewer clock right now than is ideal because we have some that have been sent in for repairs. So I'm asking to purchase 5 additional clocks. Through our discussions with IT, Mike Colvin, who I'm not sure, I don't see on the Zoom.
He's here.
He's here.
Oh, okay. Mike had a suggestion for maybe a solution that we could look into maybe for the future. We could maybe purchase some clocks to get through this immediate emergency, and then an alternative solution. Because our timekeeping clocks are linked with our timekeeping software, it's proprietary, we cannot shop around. It's a sole source vendor. When I bought 5 clocks in 2019, they were about $1,200 each. And now the quote to buy 5 clocks, they're about $3,100 each. So the price is increasing dramatically and quickly, which is what, prompted Mike to maybe see if there were some more cost-effective item or alternatives that we could look into. So if Mike would be willing to speak about that, I'd appreciate it.
He's going to go to the podium,
Okay.
and you can see him on the square.
Yeah, because it's just a decision which way you want to commit. And then actually today we found another option was buying used clocks. So at the end of the day, the county's got to decide, do we want the biometric clocks at $3,100 a piece buying new? We can buy some used ones at $500 a piece. Just found those this morning, like an eBay purchase, just like we buy phones. Or the alternatives, if we didn't want to, and you address the biometric issue, that are used like a tablet and people punch in. The clock is the most convenient because it's the least amount of entry for the person. If you use a tablet, they put their number like they do now and a password and then punch. But a swipe is a little quicker. But then we have the biometric requirement we put on ourselves for that. So it's just kind of figuring out which way do we go. $3,100 a piece to buy 5 of them. But if we could use some used ones, which I personally don't think there's an issue with, we could do maybe a little bit of both to have a stock and get some used ones and see.
Let me just ask you, are the used clocks the ones with the biometrics?
Yeah,
Too?
yeah, it's the
Okay.
identical clock, just in places that have stopped using them and they sell them on eBay.
Okay, interesting. All right, Supervisor McGowan?
Mike, what's the average time on these clocks? But since my time here, it's been brought up quite a few times that we need these clocks. So, but what's the average time use on them? I mean, how long do they last?
It's kind of tough to say because they keep changing the model. So we had the original models have all quit, but that model's not available anymore. So you buy the next model, and then we bought those, and then those started quitting, and then you go to get some more clocks. Now they have another model, and those are the ones we're looking at now. So I'm guessing, without really looking, how many years we've been using the clocks? I guess if we do that.
Well, quite a few, about 12 or 14 years.
So I say that we still have like very rare, but there's an original out there. And so I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I'd say 5-6 years, with some going longer. So.
Well, I think the way we should look at it here is, that's a huge savings. I don't have a problem with the used ones on eBay. A lot of companies now are downsizing. People are working at home. They don't need all this stuff, and they're trying to liquidate some stuff. So if we could jump on an opportunity, we have some that are in repair, correct?
Yeah,
so, we're going to be getting those back, and if we can get a bunch, at the 500, I mean, they don't go bad sitting on the shelf waiting. It's unless there's a little battery in them that we can replace. But
no, and
I mean that's a good recommendation, and I really applaud you for looking at eBay. I search there all the time if I could find something used, in great shape. So I'd love for us to look at that avenue. $3,100 is just drives me crazy to think.
Supervisor Driscoll and then Administrator Moore.
Excuse me. Thank you, Chairwoman. Mike, do the current clocks have any type of a warranty on them? And if we went with new clocks, would you and your staff have the ability to make those types of repairs and that type of stuff?
So now they're proprietary, and there's really nothing there for us to do. So we ship them out. They give us an estimate if they break and need to be fixed.
So whether they're new ones or eBay ones, we still ship them out and they do what is necessary.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
We do have a 1-year warranty on the new clocks.
A 1-year warranty on new clocks. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Administrator Moore, did you have a?
That was going to be exactly my question was we're paying a little bit more for a new clock, but we're also, I would assume, getting a warranty for it. And I'm not sure, I wouldn't want to buy a used clock and have it not work.
Right. I mean, when you go to eBay, it's like anything. We buy all our phones there that way. The seller says it works, and then you can go back in eBay if it doesn't. This particular auction I looked at this morning, 2 clocks was $900, and for $66 you can buy a warranty with it. You get your $500 or your $900 back. My experience has been okay with them, but yeah, it's a jump from $500 a clock or 31, and even if it lasted half as long, I mean, I'm still ahead of the game. It's just, and that might not always be available either. It's just like, hey, that's something that we just thought of yesterday, started looking, hey, let's see what else is out there to kind of split the middle between the big costs we're not real happy about, but the convenience of it. Because the tablet idea is much cheaper, but it doesn't have that convenience. So.
Would we lose anything by coming back a week from today and further discussing this, or is there a pressing need to do it today as opposed to a week from today?
So the decision today is like an eBay item. It's on sale right now. It might not be when I get back. Not that I think there's a big market for no time clocks on there, but if we wait, they could be there. They might not be there. I suggest we still go forward with the 17,000 for the new clocks, because that takes a process to get the money moved if we need them. And so, like Jackie said, we're short one right now. So I think we should move. My opinion is to move forward to 17,000 that we're going to buy new clocks as we kind of, if we're okay with the used ones, see if they're still available and see how well they work.
All right. That seems fine to me, and we can reevaluate it next week too. If we, on his agenda item, move forward with the 17,000, which would allow you're saying to put a bid in on eBay for the used ones. There's 2.
Well, yeah, the eBay ones we should buy, I think, right away before they're gone, because we have no spares right now. And we're short one over in the sheriff's office.
Do you have
Okay.
money to do that now without
Yeah.
this 17,000?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're not going to take action today. I think the consensus is everyone's fine with you buying the used ones
Mhm.
from the existing money. Brad?
Yeah, I got a problem with that $17,000, and I had it a long time ago with the other clocks. It's just ridiculous.
We're
He's
not,
got the money, if he's got the money to put it in, you know, to buy those used ones, I think that's a great opportunity, especially if he, I mean, a year warranty. How many have broken in a year?
Yeah.
well,
All right, thank you.
You're breaking.
we'll revisit it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
$7,000.
Don't go anywhere though. We'll need you. I mean, yeah. Supervisor Garrity?
Does it get us out of the problem if we revisit it? Shouldn't we take action? Because it's really based on how many people use the clock, right? And that's why they break, because they go to high traffic areas versus low traffic areas. Are we, if we're gonna kick the can down the road, or can we give them some sort of, do something?
Well, Supervisor Seaver?
Thank you. I know this was a late breaking topic that came onto the agenda, and certainly it sounds like Mike already did some research this morning. If there's a way to I don't know if you need a resolution to allow them to at least get the used clock, we should have a spare. I mean, the fact that we have now no way to have people utilizing the time clock is a problem. But the 17,000, you guys are looking at one-time expenses today, I believe, in a resolution. Is it not today, Administrator Moore?
It is the 17,000. Is that the reserve?
That's
Yeah.
computer reserve.
Yeah, if we budget clocks in there.
Right.
You know, because it takes time, to get about that to move forward. If we don't use
Yeah.
it, it just magically goes back.
Yeah, the resolution on tap later for finance is to come out of fund balance, so it wouldn't fit into that category.
It just doesn't sound like there's a lot of shopping around for lesser cost or alternatives. And, you know, if it's got to be done, it's got to be done. But it would be nice to just have this stuff ahead of us a little bit earlier to not have the first 20 minutes of the committee meeting hash this out.
What are you suggesting?
I agree with Supervisor Garrity. I guess you can't kick it down the road much further.
Okay. So we'll get to that when we get to 3B. Okay. Jackie,
Sure.
could you finish up your agenda, please? Thank you.
Sure. My last item is determination regarding our medical plan through Blue Shield of Northeastern New York, which we're self-insured for. You may remember last year, we agreed to waive the copay for telehealth services as well as COVID-19 testing. This year, we unfortunately did not make that determination during our working group meeting, so I had to bring it to committee as open enrollment starts next week. The recommendation from Matt Schuett at Jaeger and Flynn was that we reinstate the telehealth copay. Most doctors' offices are back to in-person visits, and it's a pretty large expense. I believe it was $40,500 was the estimate of what was waived last year. And that we continue to waive the cost of the COVID-19 testing because we don't want to deter anyone who may not want to go get a test because they have a copay associated with it.
Jackie, what's the differential in a copay or our county cost when someone uses telehealth versus going in person to the doctor's office? Don't we save money if they use telehealth?
It depends if it's telehealth through the Blue Shield app or if it's your personal doctor. Most doctor's offices during COVID started doing telehealth appointments, and they charge you the same as if you were there in person.
I don't mean the copay. I mean the cost to the county. Is there a cost to the county difference?
Yes, it's a lower cost if it's through the app, but most of our telehealth visits last year were people seeing their own providers through telehealth.
And so there was no reduced cost.
Correct.
Okay. Anyone have a recommended motion here?
I have a question. I thought it was $15 difference between the copay. It was 25 for telehealth and 40. Yes, no. I thought I read something about that difference. I'll do whatever. consensus the board does. But that's the copay to
I would be fine with continuing to waive both.
do what?
Continue to waive both.
Well, I'm going to defer to the budget officer and the administrator.
My thought is the one of the reasons we did this is to encourage people to use telehealth because it's less expensive than actually going to the doctor. And no matter what somebody's contribution is, the county's always paying a higher share. So it's cost avoidance for the county if we can incentivize people to do telehealth and telemedicine. So, you know, I wouldn't have a problem with continuing.
Right? Yep. Then I'll make a motion, we continue. That's okay?
Thank you. Yes, do I have a second? I'll make the second. Any discussion further? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone on the committee. All right. Jackie, do you need anything further from us when I take the motion?
No,
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you.
And excuse,
Yeah.
$15, I think the Jaeger and Flynn initially thought that something was 40 and it turned out to be the
Oh,
same.
15. That's,
Yeah,
you know,
I
no,
think that's what the $15 is that you're referring to.
Thanks.
Okay, Mike, you're up. So Mr. Colvin on information technology, we'll get to that one about moving the computer reserve funds. But he does have an initial request related to increases in telephone service.
Yeah, we made some changes in the phone system. We signed a contract last year, but because of COVID, some other construction issues, it never got put in place till a week ago. So we're short on our phone budget this year for that reason. So I need to do a resolution to adjustment or amend my budget to accommodate the additional phone expenses we didn't expect.
Could I have a motion to that effect, please? Supervisor McGowan, second by Supervisor Driscoll. Discussion, questions? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right, now to our time clocks. Do I have a motion from Supervisor Garrity to move the 17,000 from computer reserve fund to HR? The second, Supervisor Conover. Any discussion or further questions? So you'll use that money to buy 5
Correct,
brand new time clocks with the biometrics.
correct.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? That carries.
I oppose.
Opposed, sorry, thank you. Amanda's got that. Okay. For your Administrator Moore?
Yeah, I'd also like to just make a request that we, for the longer term, we look into some of the other options that might be out there. I think there's a Nova Time, it was mentioned on an email this morning. There may be an option with Nova Time to do more of an annual agreement where the maintenance and the upgrades are included and the replacements. So we should, in the context of the long term, take a look at whether switching to an option like that makes sense. And make sure that payroll is part of that conversation as well.
Now, I'm not clear. Did we say you were going to also buy the used ones right away?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if they
Okay.
have money available. I mean, it's an immediate solution. If they work great, it buys us more time on the new ones.
Okay. Do you have anything to advise us about in your budget, or do you want to
Yeah,
hit the highlights of your budget?
I guess, mine's usually the same except for the subscriptions. That's the big jump. All the cybersecurity requirements that have really changed over the last couple of years. So that's, the biggest standout in my budget increase, things that we're required to do. A lot of it came to a head in the last couple of months of trying to even get cyber insurance to even get a quote. They used to say it was a short application. Now they have 3 different versions of questions we have to go through, pages and pages, and they're very specific. And if you don't answer yes to this, they won't even quote you. And so my subscription category has gone up to meet those requirements. A lot of things used to be suggestions. Hey, it was nice if you had it. Now it's you better have it or you're on your own.
I attended the cybersecurity session at NISAC, and it was very scary. All of the different threats that are out there and that we need to keep paying attention to. And I think our IT department is doing a great job relative to some other counties. So any questions on his budget, on Mr. Colvin's budget? Any discussion? Jack, Supervisor Diamond?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not a member of this committee, but I'd like to question Mike. Mike, how much is that line item increased this year for the cybersecurity?
So in that subscription line, really, I think the previous budget really only had the 12 in it and for our cyber training. So then we got the a grant to do the Verona stuff, which actually paid this year. So we didn't have to use that money, but it's an annual expense. I needed to add it in for next year. And then the remote monitoring and our inventory is new, as well as and multi-factor authentication. I originally put $24,000 down because of how it was presented to us. We've since brought, we don't have the exact quote, but now we're down to an estimate being 15,000. So really that whole line is new except for the $12,000.
Is that the 400 line item? Your contract? Because it looks like you're asking for about 86,000 more this year. I was just wondering what that total was.
At the subscriptions at the 426, it's $39,000 for our Verona software, which is our monitoring. 15,000 for it says RMM, remote monitor management, and our inventory. And then the multi-factor authentication. Originally, I did put 24,000 down, but we've been changing it to 15. It's been like a live subject as we've been doing budget.
Okay, and you're also requesting on the personnel side, a grade increase from 15 to 16.
Yeah, so we want to change a position as a support tech to a cybersecurity person. That's another requirement that they say you should have a dedicated cybersecurity person monitoring all this stuff and working on just that. So instead of adding a new position yet, trying to just take a position and modify it into that.
Okay, thank you.
You are deleting one of the older positions when you're doing that, right? The computer help desk tech number 3.
Yeah, I don't think we're deleting it. We're just leaving it. Is it the word is unfunding it, not funding it. So
Okay.
it's still there, but we're not funding it.
Okay. Okay.
Because eventually I'm going to have to address the issue of, okay, if I'm taking this person and dedicating their time to something, how do I fill that time? And so I got to see how that's going to balance out, how much time there really is. I've got to
Right. You
make
wanted
up, so.
to have a little time before we do that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Chairwoman.
Thank you. Mike, in context of your budget, and I hate to go back to this topic, but I recognize Supervisor McGowan's no vote on the previous resolution. I respect that. I just want to clarify something really quickly. If the model you buy off of eBay works and it works well, you don't necessarily have to just spend the 17,000 on the new ones. If in fact it looks like this might be a good option, we can save it and then also give us some time to research that alternative option that the treasurer's office brought up, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I
Okay.
think my goal would be to get the used ones. When we get those now, they work out good. It's going to be a month, 6 weeks before that 17 is there.
Okay,
But if everything's good and we're happy with these clocks, and then I say, well, maybe we should wait a little bit because we have spares to work with.
thank you.
And like I use the word magic, then the money magically goes back, and
Right.
then I could request it later.
And you'll
attached, so.
update the committee if that happens.
Magic in the
Okay.
treasurer's office.
I appreciate the conservative approach and the last minute teamwork that took
Yeah.
place with that, but that doesn't affect your budget that you're presenting here for next year, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
all right. perfect.
Let's make
Thank
sure
you.
we do keep that on the agenda though for you, Mike, to
Mhm.
provide us an update next month,
Okay.
just where you are with the,
Yep.
Impending, on the
Yep.
pending item. Thank
Yep.
you.
yes, Supervisor McGowan. Actually, I told Administrator Moore he could say.
Yeah, I just had a follow-up on the personnel
I'll come back.
request because we track this in our office, all the on a spreadsheet, in concert with Frank doing decisions on the budget. It does say on this form, deleting the computer help desk tech number 3. So I just want to confirm what it is that we're doing there so that our records are correct.
We're going to unfund it, but not yet delete it.
Okay.
The money for that position is not in your budget request, right?
Well,
On
it is.
salaries?
It is because the budget request is a reflection of,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. I thought
Yeah.
that was a question to me.
It wasn't, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So do we need to correct that or we just leave it for now?
Well, I'm just trying to clarify it because this request form says delete it.
I know.
Yeah, I think there might have been but I call it an error on my part because we don't want to create a position and then not have it work out the way we hope and then
Okay,
lose somebody kind of thing.
got it.
So
Okay.
they would suggest you do an unfund so
Okay.
that you have some
Okay,
options.
thank you.
We'll make sure that's correct. Okay. Anything else for IT? Mr. Colvin? Yes, Mike, you're gonna have to come to a mic, please. Treasurer Swan.
Good morning. Just as an FYI on the cybersecurity, our outside independent auditor has requested twice now and made a note in our management letter about cybersecurity. And after our IT director's response to him and my discussions with our outside auditor, we're way ahead of the curve in relation to a lot of the other counties that are out there. So, I mean, I just want to pass that along that I don't know if we're 100% safe. I don't have the idea, but we're a lot better off than most of the other counties that they audit 13 counties in the state, and we're the best of all of the 13 that they audit. So just as an FYI.
Yeah, at NISAC, they actually did this little exercise where everyone got up and they put on the wall like where they are in this spectrum of things. And there were many counties that were like, we have nothing in place. And I felt confident that we had a lot better systems in place than they do.
Yeah, and something that's helpful in this is also the fact that we buy cyber insurance. Not every county buys cyber insurance, and the insurance companies will check us and make sure that we're all up to speed and doing what we need to be doing. That's why the multi-factor authentication is in this budget, which Mike put in, as he mentioned, at 24, and we may only need 15,000. If we didn't put that expense in the budget and commit to doing it, we were in danger potentially of not getting cyber insurance. So the fact that we do cyber insurance and we utilize those companies to keep us on track is certainly helpful.
Great. All right, moving right along to Mr. Terwilliger. We do have an item that he would like us to take action on, but we need to go into executive session to discuss that particular one, as well as some other cases. He's going to give us a brief update on our other cases. Robert, can you tell me what the names of the cases are for our motion for executive session, please?
Good morning. The name of the cases that I'd like to discuss in executive session for litigation review would be, one is Gustavo Kaplan versus Warren County. The second one is LeClaire versus Vincent and Warren County DSS and others. The other is Quester French versus Derek Williams and others, including Sheriff LaFar and Warren County. Tyson Poulos versus Warren County. Forest Enterprises versus Warren County. And Jason Lewis versus Warren County. And the Estate of Ryan Taylor versus Town of Hadley, Town of Lake Luzerne, County of Saratoga, and County of Warren.
And the this last one, this is on the opioid settlement.
Yes, the last one is a matter on one we're represented by Napoli Shkolnik. It's a large, they refer to it as a big three litigation. It's against three large distributors of opioid drugs: McKesson Corporation, Cardinal Health Incorporated, and AmerisourceBergen Corporation and their subsidiaries.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep that list for me. If no one objects, I'd like to take our auditor first so that she can go and not have to wait for us to get through executive session. Is that all right with everyone? Okay. So just skip down quickly to your auditor section number 6.
Okay.
Thank you, Carla, for waiting. Sure. If you just want to give us your highlights, and then if anybody has any questions, there probably won't be any.
Okay, my budget is very small. I don't have control over the salaries. I have one civil service employee who is in the bargaining unit, so that's an automatic. And my salary is determined by the budget team. The 400 codes, last year I really slashed my supply budget due to COVID. I had bought everything in the previous year that we would need. So that one did go up back to what it had been, to $1,400, because we're running out of what I bought 2 years ago. Everything else is basically the same as it has been. And again, the employee benefits, I don't have any control over any of that. The suggestion that I got when I went over it with the budget team, I did contact Mike Colvin, and he does have us on the list to purchase new laptops. The laptops include cameras, so we did not need to purchase separate cameras to use in the office.
So you took that out.
It wasn't in my budget.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It'll come through Mike's.
Okay. Great. Anything else? That's it. Any questions for our auditor? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. She is on Zoom. Trish, let me just check with you. Are you okay waiting to do your presentation till after we come out of executive session?
Yeah.
Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
That was Amanda helping us out here. All right, could I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation, including Kaplan, Leclerc, Quester, Tyson, Forest Enterprises, Lewis, Taylor, and the so-called Big Three case? Thank you, Supervisor Garrity. Supervisor Driscoll on the second and Conover. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. We'll go into